Hi everyone, this is Menz here. I am playing World of Warships. This is a co-op battle where you're going to be starting. You start against AI first, and this is a beta, so things are going to change, but it will be a decent look on what it's going to be. Now, starting out, the movement's a bit different than in World of Tanks, of course. You have to tap W, you don't have to hold it, and as you see, you can change basically if you want to go full speed, 3/4, half, etc., etc. Now, as far as aiming goes, very easy. You just kind of point and it shows you where your guns are. Now you can scroll in and out, or I just like to kind of keep it zoomed in. And where is that? And I'll kind of hold my right mouse button to stay zoomed out, but you can kind of finish, or not finish, but you can kind of figure out what works for you. Now, steering, using a small warship like the Erie, you're going to be able to turn fairly easily, but in battleships it will take a little time to turn around. Alright, so I want to keep my view in far. There we go. Basically, you have a zoomed in view and a zoomed out view. Now, using different shells, you'll notice that there's a HE and an AP shell. Starting out, HE is good at longer ranges. However, at ranges under 10 kilometers, you can often switch over to AP and be able to hit fairly reliably. Basically, with AP, you want to be able to hit the side of a ship. HE, you'll do a lot of damage if you burn the ship, but with AP, you have to hit the critical parts of a ship, which usually you want to hit the side of the ship like that. Alright, so there's that guy firing at me, but this guy's a lot closer to me. Now, leading your target is very important in this. Without leading your target, you're not gonna do very well. And since he's so close, using AP, I'm gonna be doing a lot more damage than if I was using just HE. But jumping into World of Warships, you'll notice it's kind of similar to other wargaming games. It's just ships, so of course it's going to be a little bit different. And as far as the difficulties, it's a beta, so you kind of screw around and figure out what you like, what you don't like, and you go from there. The main thing is you kind of want to stick with your team. You don't want to go out on your own, or else you're going to learn pretty quickly that you're not going to last very long, especially against AI. They'll kind of single in on you, but you don't have to stay right next to your team. You just stay close enough to where you're in a small group supporting each other. Just don't go out on your own, because obviously against AI they're going to focus in on you, but against other players, once you unlock that, you're not going to last very long as a single ship. Now, as far as aiming and doing a lot of damage, you want to hit basically under most tanks, it's in, or most ships, it's in the middle, but you aim under the main tower of the ship or the turrets to be able to do a lot of damage with AP. If you hit unimportant parts of the ship, then you're not going to do a lot of damage with AP or HE. I'm just focusing on this guy because I can't turn too much more. I want to stay in the fight. I don't want to go to the right of that island. But it is important to kind of look at your mini-map and keep an eye on where you're heading, because you're not able to stop and turn as fast as you would be in a tank. However, I do want to turn a little bit. Maybe I do want to go on the right side, but this guy should be out of there. Now, starting out, you don't have access to torpedoes. However, when you do get torpedoes, just keep in mind there are no friendly torpedoes in World of Warships. So if you hit one of your teammates with a torpedo, they are going to feel it. And it's very important to just keep an eye out where your team's heading. Now, it will take some time to learn how to lead ships, and it's different for every ship that you fire at and your guns, and it just takes a little bit of learning. But usually at longer ranges, that's why HE is better, because you're able to have a little bit more leeway where you hit the ship, because you're not going to be able to hit the vital areas all the time. Okay, so he's out of there. Yeah, no shot on that guy. I'm going to head to the left of this island. But one thing that World of Tanks doesn't have is a domination mode like this with 3 different caps. It is important to at least have one. You don't need all of them, but you need at least one to not lose before you're able to kill all the enemies. But having at least one gives you enough time to destroy the enemy team if you're ahead. If not, having 2 or 3 will let you win via points through capping, rather than having to destroy the whole enemy team. But even in standard battles where it's not a domination mode, it's just 2 bases essentially and flag areas, just keep in mind that it's very difficult to turn around in this game, and since the maps are very large compared to World of Tanks, you're not going to have time to get back, so never leave your base open. Now, it's a beta, so you're going to get a decent amount of rewards and experience here, but just referencing a hit to the Citadel, that refers to the central area, as you see here on the little thing. It gives you a little detail, and that's where you want to hit with AP rounds. You don't want to hit the front or the back of the ship, the bow or stern, because you're not going to do a lot of damage. And basically, it's self-explanatory as far as ribbons go. The best thing is just jumping in and knowing that this will be a little bit different than tanks, but you should have known that going in. And it is fun. It's a little slower pace, but at the same time, you're aiming, you have to lead your targets, you have to maneuver around obstacles and position yourself against your enemies. You can position in between their shots to kind of throw their aim off. There's a lot going on, even though it's a lot slower paced than tanks and even warplanes, even though warplanes isn't that popular. And it's definitely a game that I plan on playing because it's very fun to play, and once you start getting into battleships and the higher tier ships, it's very fun and rewarding because there's a lot of different gameplay elements. Now, you can find a few guides I have up. There is a new website. Watt Guru is still going to host everything for World of Tanks. However, you'll find a link in the video description below to menzgaming.com, which will host World of Warships and other games I plan on covering. But you'll find a few guides for World of Warships as far as starting out if you haven't played it yet, or if you have participated in the betas and you want to learn a few little tips and tricks for this now closed beta, that there's no non-disclosure agreement now, and you're going to see a lot more information coming out. So stay tuned, and that's menzgaming.com, and you'll find a link in the video description below. And stay tuned for more videos and guides coming up on World of Warships.